Are you ready to take your business to the next level? Every day there are countless books and articles that are published offering the key on how to make your business a success. It's easy to feel overwhelmed trying to keep up and run your business. That's why Deb Creer created the Business Power Hour. Keep up on the latest trends, best practices, and techniques for how to make your business a success. Let the Business Power Hour do the heavy work for you.
Good morning, good morning. I am Deb Creer, and I am passionate about giving professionals the tools that they need to make themselves and their businesses as successful as possible. And I am so excited today because we're going to be talking about a subject that many, if not most, or maybe even all, businesses should be considering as a way to reach their current clients, their current customers, prospective people they want to reach out to, business partners, all sorts of things. And so with that, please join me in welcoming Alyssa Marshall to our program today. Welcome, Alyssa. How are you?
I am doing wonderful. Thank you so much, Deb, for the warm welcome and for having me on your show.
Great. Well, let me tell people a little bit about you, and then we will jump into this. So Alyssa Marshall is the co-founder of Owlish, a software as service, which is SaaS, people may have heard that helps non-technical creators embed awesome-looking online courses into their own websites without the help of a developer. Having received her DDS in both South Korea and the United States, Alyssa practiced dentistry before becoming an entrepreneur. In 2013, she created an educational hub providing online courses and remote training for dentists all around the world looking to take their careers to the next level. This venture led her to retiring as a dentist at the age of 31. I love it. As a non-technical course creator, Alyssa grew frustrated with the various technical challenges of hosting a thriving online course community. The constant back and forth with developers just to make simple changes, combined with the complexity of maintaining a whole separate course website, led to her and her partner Kevin developing their own custom course platform, which eventually became Owlish. So again, Alyssa, welcome.
Thank you. And I love how you read my bio. That's wonderful.
I get those little emphasized things. Can you tell that somewhere I have a theater background?
I can tell.
Well, I always like to ask my guests how they got to where they are today, because you really have taken, because I should have called you doctor, but you've taken quite the route. So tell us a little bit about how it is that you've discovered that at least for now, this is your passion in life.
Yes. Okay. So, well, I was in dental school and I, as you heard, I did dental school first in South Korea, then I moved over here and I had to do dental school again here. And that process of becoming a dentist here again is very competitive, so competitive. And so when I got my acceptance, not just to one school, I ended up going to and graduated from UCLA, but that cycle that I applied to, I had so many acceptances in my head. I was very fortunate, right? I could choose where I wanted to go. And because of that, friends started to reach out to me for help, and then friends of friends reached out for help. And it just kind of became this organic, I was helping a lot of people while I was in school. And I was like, oh, maybe I should just kind of make this official.
Yeah, maybe we can have a side gig here.
Yeah. So I did that when I finished school and I started to practice. And then it just became oh, I can take this to the next level. Because Kevin has some backgrounds with admissions as well. And so he was doing the essays, and basically him and I combined, we could cover everything.
Right.
And so we took everything online, including the teaching of dentistry, which was not something that was done back. This was 2013.
Right.
So we had put together this educational hub, online courses that really showed how the handpiece, the drill, sorry for technical jargon, but yeah,
the noisy part.
Yeah, the noisy part that you don't like to hear that. We're basically showing people how to cut teeth, and I was using plastic teeth from 2 different angles. It was shot with super high up so that one tooth would fill your entire screen. It was really high definition. And that really allowed me to retire working as a dentist, which I was very happy with
Mhm.
that because that basically meant that I can now claim my time and my schedule.
Mhm.
Dentistry is wonderful, except that you don't make any money unless you're there working
Right. And
as
working a lot.
a lot. And
Mhm.
it's really, really hard on your body.
Mhm.
And so I was like, oh my gosh, this is amazing. And so we were running that business and we actually still have that business since 2013.
Mhm.
But I am not technical, like coding, this is
Mhm.
not me. And we had a lot of needs that in our business that we wanted our course to be able to offer. Like sometimes it was like booking sessions, not with just me, but like with our outside consultants
Right.
and things of that nature.
Mhm.
And none of the existing options had anything
Mhm.
close to what we needed.
Mhm.
And so we had to develop our own everything,
Mhm.
our own platform. And we did
Mhm.
so on WordPress. And it works and it still works,
Mhm.
but I can't do anything with it.
Mhm.
Like I don't know how to do anything in the back
Mhm.
end. Like when the WordPress site is young, like I can
Mhm.
kind of go in and I still
Right.
know
Yeah.
where what
You
is.
can put a widget in and
Yeah. But as the site matures and there becomes more and more content, it's just like the idea of logging into the site, even I have to take a deep breath before I even
right.
get in
Because
there.
you're thinking, I'm gonna screw it up.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm going to screw it up. Where is this? Where do I find it?
Mhm.
And what went wrong from all of the integrations that happened? Anyway, it is very overwhelming for me.
Mhm.
And so this has been going on for a few years, right? And Kevin is a developer as well.
Mhm.
And so I was very fortunate to have that. But like to make a little change on our site, like I'd be like going back and forth, like, hey, can we do this? And
Mhm.
then he'd do it in his interpretation. I was like,
Mhm.
no, not that. Like,
Right.
it's like, and it just take forever to do
Mhm.
something that should have been so easy. And I
Mhm.
was just like, okay, this whole course thing, I mean, it's good, but
Mhm.
there has to be a better and easier software solution
Right.
to allow people. And there are really good softwares out there,
Mhm.
but you have to have your own subdomain. And for most of them, it's either like an all-in-one solution
Mhm.
or it's only for your online course. You
Right.
can't have other stuff going
Mhm.
on. There was no in between
Mhm.
for, let's say, if I just wanted my website, like
Mhm.
I want my website to function the way it is,
Mhm.
and I just want to add on a page that
Mhm.
hosts my course, that's of course protected for only members
Mhm.
to access or whatnot.
Right.
There wasn't an easy way to do
Mhm.
this. And so we ended up making making it, and that became Owlish.
I love that.
Yeah, it's so much fun.
Mhm. Right. And I was looking at your website and,
Mhm.
my first thought was people go, what would I even, what, yeah, how, I don't know that I have anything to offer. So,
Hmm.
as I mentioned at the start, it's something that many, most, maybe even all businesses could and should be thinking about. So if somebody says to you, Alyssa, I don't even know if why would anybody want to get a course from me? What do you tell them?
Well, if you are in business, you are providing some kind of value to
Mhm.
somebody else. That is why somebody is paying you for
Mhm.
whatever it is, the value that you're
Mhm.
providing. If you have anybody that is paying you for that and
Mhm.
paying you for your time, maybe you're a
Mhm.
consultant and you do these one-on-one
Right.
sessions. If you have an online course,
Mhm.
you don't have to do those one-on-one
Mhm.
sessions anymore.
Right.
And so it's not like you don't have to like continue doing it,
Mhm.
but it's kind of like a way to help a lot of people without putting strain on yourself
Right.
at a lower price point
Mhm.
so that they can get really
Mhm.
acquainted with you. And then maybe they will go on and join your private session that you can price even higher than what
Right.
you are doing right now.
Mhm.
So I would say if you are in business and somebody's paying you for something, think
Mhm.
about what they're paying you for.
Mhm.
And yeah, you can build a course around
Right.
it. And you don't have to be always on all of the time to be
Mhm.
making your money.
Right. And you could be making money 24/7 around the world.
Exactly. Yes, you can take a vacation and you'll
Mhm.
get these Stripe notifications that
Mhm.
you got a sale.
Actually,
Yeah.
wait, here it is. Here it is.
I love that.
I don't get to use that often enough.
That is so
Um,
much fun.
but yeah, it's something that I think many people, as I said, never even stop to think, hey, I
Mhm.
could do this. I
Mhm.
teach people how to do this. And maybe it's especially now, one of the things that I was thinking about was when we have remote workers.
Oh.
I'm guessing,
Mhm.
that in the last couple of years, things have really jumped with that because when people are in various locations and or not wanting to come into the office. I mean, even if they're in the
Mhm.
same city, they just don't want to come into the office anymore,
Oh
but
yeah.
they need to learn how to do something. And
Hmm.
so, people are like, okay, well, I can do it on Zoom. And oh, wait, how do I show my whiteboard? And and so by doing it as a course, I would
Hmm.
imagine that that's a great way for this material to be disseminated.
Oh, absolutely. And I kind of learned this lesson when I was teaching dentistry
Mhm.
that, you know, most of this information is most of what I was teaching to people that were already dentists
Mhm.
in terms of the standards of how to
Mhm.
cut teeth for the US
Right.
standards. I'm saying the same thing
Mhm.
over and
Right.
over and over again.
Mhm.
Just record yourself saying it
Mhm.
and give them access to
Mhm.
it.
Right.
And if it is applicable, you can,
Mhm.
charge a little bit or whatever
Mhm.
it is that needs to happen. But you do not have to repeat yourself
Mhm.
in that way. It's like you probably, if you've been coaching or doing anything like that for
Mhm.
an amount of time, you have a system in which you're
Mhm.
taking somebody that's like a new client to you and helping them understand some concepts
Mhm.
of whatever, and then you take them to the place of desired
Mhm.
result. And so this process, if you think about it and put it into a course, you can take
Mhm.
so much off of your plate
Right.
in terms of your time and working
Mhm.
live and stuff like that. It's
Mhm.
amazing.
Right. Well, and how many times have people said, I need to see it again? Wait, I didn't catch that
Yes.
last bit, or oh,
Yes.
and so when it's an online course that they can just
Mm,
either start again, start in the middle, do whatever, that's perfect
exactly.
for them.
Yes, exactly. And that happens all of the time. I mean, even me, when I'm learning something,
Mhm.
it's like not all of it will stick at once.
Right. Hmm.
It just doesn't. And so
Hmm.
we need repetition.
Hmm. Right. And and it also could be something where maybe it's, something you do quarterly. So it doesn't have to stay in your brain, and but you do need kind of that little reminder, this is how I do this.
Yes, exactly. Yes, exactly. So yeah, this is great,
Mhm.
not just for coaches, for
Mhm.
people to
Mhm.
distill their knowledge and their expertise into a course to sell, but even like if you're onboarding, let's say employees, or like have to do something with employees, training manuals that can also be created into an
Mhm.
online course format so that you don't have to say the same thing over
Right.
and over again.
Mhm.
SOPs even it can
Mhm.
implement it with SOPs. There's so many ways where basically a series of videos
Mhm.
in a membership protected area can be
Mhm.
beneficial to you. So I
Mhm.
really implore people to think kind of creatively in terms of
Mhm.
all the different ways where the things that they're doing in repetition can be
Right.
simplified by
Mhm.
using a series of videos.
Mhm. Right. So then I'm guessing the next question is, it sounds hard. So what do you
Oh,
tell people when
yes.
you get the deer in the headlights look? And they just immediately assume this is complicated. It's way more than I can figure out. So I'm
Mhm.
not going to do it. So, talk us through, kind of what the process is and how simple it is.
So if you have your own website, you can do it. If you even have a website on, let's just say something like an easy builder, like a Weebly,
Mhm. Mhm.
that is one of the platforms that Owlish works with.
Okay.
So what Owlish is you log into our app, our dashboard, and you create a course there. And there's a very easy drag and drop kind of
I was
interface.
looking at the video. It really did look very easy. Mhm.
Mhm. The target audience was me.
Mhm. If you
It
could do
had to
it,
be easy
anybody
for
could do
me.
it,
Oh,
that
for
philosophy.
real.
Mhm.
I am not technically
Mhm.
oriented. I'm the person that I still am not on TikTok. Like this,
Mhm.
this new tech is like a
Mhm.
big hurdle for me to
Right.
overcome.
Mhm.
So that is me.
Mhm.
And so I was heavily involved in the design
Mhm.
design of everything because we had
That's
to make sure that
okay.
somebody like I
Mhm.
could use it.
Mhm.
That is exactly the target.
Mhm.
Like if I was by myself and I had to put up a website, I probably would have made a Weebly site.
Mhm.
And
Right.
if I needed to, let's say, put up a course, or if I wanted to,
Mhm.
a platform like Owlish is exactly what I'd be
Mhm.
looking for. Like before, you could technically, let's just hypothetically
Mhm.
say, I have a Weebly site, and let's just
Mhm.
say I wanted to have a series of videos on my site.
Mhm.
I could technically make separate pages,
Mhm.
put up YouTube videos, and
Mhm.
link them, interlink them, right?
Right.
And that would be one way
Mhm.
of
And that
making it.
works,
It
but it's
works.
yeah,
The
it's not very
thing,
pretty.
no, it's ugly.
Mhm.
And I mean, it's like 2022, design really does matter in terms of how much you're,
especially if you're charging for it. You know, if
Yes.
you're charging for it, people want to not be, having the YouTube link, which may or may not work,
Exactly.
and and then goes into an ad. I always love that.
Oh my gosh, tell me
Or
about
goes into
that.
the next video, which doesn't even pertain to you.
No, exactly. And if you wanted to make edits to your course,
Mhm.
it is very, like, let's say you had a sequence of one video,
Mhm.
1, 2, 3, 4, and you're
Mhm.
like, oh, I need to add this module,
Mhm.
and this one needs to go in between 2 and 3.
Mhm.
Then you have to change the linkings of
Right.
everything.
Mhm.
If you use an LMS like Alish, you
Mhm.
would just drag and drop the series. You would just make a
Right.
new
You can
lesson and
rearrange
drag
and
it in to the right place, and
Mhm.
everything is there. You don't have to think about it. So things don't break in
Mhm.
that way. And so, yeah, if you have like a site on Weebly and you're
Mhm.
like, okay, let me just make a simple course, 3
Mhm.
lessons maybe,
Mhm.
doesn't have to be complicated.
Mhm.
And you make your course, right? You just drag and drop your video
Mhm.
in there or upload it to our
Mhm.
platform. You just type in the text that you want to go
Mhm.
along with, and then you publish it. And then you
Mhm.
basically just have to get a code from us
Mhm.
and put that in your Weebly header
Mhm.
or footer,
Mhm.
and voila, it's up.
Mhm.
That is all you have to do, and it looks good. It
Mhm.
does not look ugly. This was so important for me.
Right.
Like, yeah,
Mhm.
like you don't want an ugly site,
Mhm.
like, and especially like if you put in effort to design
Mhm.
your website, and then you're like, okay, here's your paid course, and
Mhm.
that's ugly. It's just this
Mhm.
kind of like buyer's remorse
Right.
sets in
Mhm.
for the buyers. Like,
Mhm.
oh, like, is the quality of this course going to be
Right.
okay?
Is it
Like, did I
reliable?
just
Can I trust what it's saying?
Mhm.
Mhm.
Exactly, because it looks like early 2000s design. Not that design doesn't necessarily is linked to the actual
Mhm.
course quality, but that's just the
Mhm.
perception of it, right? We all
Right.
like things that look
Mhm.
nice.
Right.
And so Alish was really created to scratch that kind of
Mhm.
itch, and it works with all of the platforms.
Mhm.
So if you have a Shopify store and you
Mhm.
want to put a course in there, you can do that.
Right.
It's the exact same
Mhm.
process. It's so simple.
Mhm. Right. And it really is, as you were talking about, I was thinking about, okay, if somebody does an entire course recorded as, say, Zoom,
Hmm.
and then uploads it to YouTube,
Hmm.
that's great until they want to change it. And
Yes.
then they may have to start over, especially if they don't know
Oh,
how to edit raw video.
yeah.
And so yeah, it's just to be able to have these modules that you can move
Hmm.
around, because say people are going, well, wait a minute, you skipped a step, or hey, I have another question. I mean, things like that. You
Yeah.
can easily just pop it in there without saying, "Ugh, I have to start over."
I know. I had to make a whole new version of this. And that happens like as you teach your content over
Mhm.
and over again, you learn how to teach it better.
Right.
And you
Mhm.
go, oh, people are missing
Mhm.
that. And I really need to
Mhm.
cover that. And,
Mhm.
you learn while you teach.
Mhm.
I think you learn a lot while you teach.
Right. Mhm.
Anyway, so your course needs to evolve. And
Mhm.
hopefully your course platform will support you doing so
Mhm.
without having to, start from scratch
Mhm.
because it's a lot
Right.
of work.
Right. And you've mentioned the fact that it's, you can put it on your own site. Why is
Hmm.
it important to be self-hosting it as opposed to putting it on somebody else's site?
Okay. So I don't know about you, but I do not want to manage 10 different websites.
Right.
Like, it's even if your course site is your website,
Mhm.
once you start using a subdomain, it's a
Mhm.
separate website
Mhm.
completely. That website does not get the SEO benefits of
Right.
your main website.
Mhm.
None of the links, like Google sees it as a
Mhm.
completely separate, you might as well just get a new
Mhm.
URL. It is exactly the same. I think you would
Right.
just like not have to pay GoDaddy. That's like the
Mhm.
only thing
Mhm.
that's
Yeah.
different.
Mhm.
Otherwise, yeah. And so if you have it separately, there are a lot of complications that arise with it.
Mhm.
One was what I already mentioned that happened to me, where I wanted people to be able to book things, and
Mhm.
it just wasn't working out.
Mhm.
And the way you want to display your courses from your site, like for me, I want my course site to actually have the SEO juice to the same
Mhm.
as the main site that I worked on.
Right. Because you want to sell things, and so you don't
Exactly.
want them off somewhere else.
No, and I think that's also like a better experience for the people. Like,
Mhm.
I would rather not have it to be like where they have to click a link and a whole new site opens up, or they have to
Mhm.
save the link to the course site.
Right.
It's just it's one more step than
Mhm.
necessary, and it's just a little
Mhm.
janky, if you
Right.
ask me,
Mhm.
and not needed.
Right. Well, and there's also the problem with, if you put it somewhere else on, say, Udemy, and I think I said that wrong,
Oh,
or a LinkedIn course. I mean, obviously there's lots of juice there. I mean, to be able to say, hey, I have courses on LinkedIn, that's great. But the tricky part is if they've gone in and searched for, something, they might find you. They might find somebody else. They might go to somebody else. I mean, all those things. You want to capture them on your site.
Right. That is exactly right. And like, okay, a place like Udemy is wonderful, I guess, if you have zero audience and you have to start. Because if you put up a website, you'll have no juice. Google's not going to really bring it up for anything, because why would they when there are other businesses that are offering something similar? But if you already have an audience and they're looking for you, then don't put it up on Udemy and lose half of your revenue to Udemy and compete with all of the other people offering several similar courses. That's a lot. There's a lot of competition. And I look as like a platform like that, like Skillshare, just as a place to get you started, if that.
Right.
But after you've cultivated your own and you've been in business, don't.
Right. Yeah. I mean, it's the same thing as when I have businesses tell me, I don't need a website because I can have a Facebook business page. And I'm like, no, danger, danger, danger. And it's perfectly fine to have a Facebook business page. That's what we do, is we manage people's Facebook business pages. So we like that. But you should always have your own website. And the Facebook business page should be driving people to it.
Yes.
Because that's where you can collect their name and their content information, contact information, all of those things. And anytime you're playing in somebody else's sandbox, things can go wrong.
That is exactly.
I think it was as we're recording this, I heard on the news today that Meta, which is of course Facebook, had somehow gotten a little hacked. And there were things showing up and they weren't bad things. So it wasn't, that we were getting porn or anything like that. But whoever hacked it was putting in things that you really didn't want to see.
Really?
And so, those things happen. When like I said, if you're playing on somebody else's, and they can change the rules. I mean, that's the thing too, is I tell people, if you have a Facebook business page with say 10,000 followers, fans, and they all of a sudden say, we're going to charge you per fan. Many businesses can't do that. And think of, say, the big, huge businesses that have, millions of fans and followers. You just don't want to do that. And they are going to regulate how it looks. They're going to regulate who sees it. I mean, all of those various things.
I mean, if you've been in business long enough, you've already been burnt by it, because back in the day when you posted anything on your Facebook page, everybody saw it.
Now
nobody's. You have to have a group to get a little bit of juice, and that's about it. Pages, you need a page, you need a website, but really, like, maybe 10%, 5% of of your fans are going to see anything you post on your page, and that's that.
You do want to be there, as you said, because you also might want to be using it for advertising.
Yeah.
And whatever the platform is.
And Messenger. I find that people really like to just type a message in.
Oh, I've gotten to where I rely on that more than I do with email. Yes. And of course, the bad part is then I can't find stuff. I'm like, in my email, I can go into Outlook. I can search by name. I can find it right away. And you're supposed to be able to do that in Facebook. Sometimes
not easy.
It works, sometimes it doesn't. You have to remember very specifically what a term was that you used in that conversation. And then maybe it'll bring it up for you.
Yes.
But yeah, I mean, if I'm sending somebody a quick note, I'm going to do it in Facebook Messenger, usually more times than not.
Yeah, same as me. And like people will, I don't know, because people are on Facebook and they just want to be able to chat quickly. And if they're on there, I'm not going to force them to come to, like, I want to remove friction as much as possible. And so, I will chat with them there. And so, like, keep your Facebook, but don't build your business on somebody else's platform. And that's another thing with a platform like ours, is that you own your material. It's yours.
Right.
And if for whatever reason you need to go from, let's say, a Weebly to a Shopify, or, like
Mhm.
oftentimes e-commerce people will start off on Weebly and
Right.
they would be like, okay,
And
let me
then as they
graduate to
grow, they need
Shopify.
more capabilities.
Yes. If you need to do that with Alice, you can just bring the code over to Shopify. You don't have to change anything.
Ah.
And it works like that, like
Mhm.
no work needed. It
Mhm.
is so simple for the
Right.
non-technical
Mhm.
people.
Right. Yeah,
Yeah.
and for those people who just went code, copy, you've got videos, you've got tutorials,
Mhm.
and when you say, copy the code, it's like in the
It's a
real
one
world, it's
line.
a sentence. Yeah.
Yeah. It's one line.
And it's just, it's doing the redirect, it's doing all the fancy stuff.
And
But
if you need help with that, shoot us an email. We'll
yeah,
help
yeah.
you.
But yeah, I was looking on your site. You've
Mm.
got the courses that say, okay, here's how you do it on WordPress. Here's how you do it
Mhm.
on Weebly.
Yes.
And if it doesn't work, you are there to provide
Oh,
support.
yeah, absolutely. We're a small business like yours and
Mhm,
have a non-technical co-founder
mhm.
like you. So I totally
Right.
get it.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm like, oh, and it's funny. I do, we design websites for people, and I've got
Mm.
my own websites,
Mhm.
but I do the 15-minute rule. If it's going to take me more than 15 minutes, then somebody else needs to do it.
Ah,
And so like, because I can get caught in that
yeah.
minutia. I go down those little rabbit holes.
Mhm.
And it's like, oh, well, what if I, oh, what? And then pretty soon my website doesn't work because I added a plugin that has a conflict or something. And then
And it doesn't work with the other one. And
and
oh
then
my
I have to
gosh.
hire somebody and it costs me twice as much.
Yeah.
And so yeah, it just, if it's going to take me longer, I either need something like Owlish where I know it's going to work, or I have
Mhm.
somebody else do it.
Yeah.
Because yeah, I don't have that technical bandwidth in my head to know what to do.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, it shouldn't be the creator's
Right.
responsibility to figure it out.
Mhm.
No code tools.
I know.
I love the no code movement
Mhm.
so much. It's
Yeah.
so empowering,
Oh,
in
I
my
know.
opinion. Yeah.
And I'm old school enough. I know HTML. I know
Mm.
just enough HTML to be dangerous. And
You're
because
more techie than me.
oh, and but I'll screw up and like I'll increase the size of, say, a font,
Mm,
and then not know where I need to decrease it again.
right.
I mean, all these
How
things.
did that happen?
Yes, and it looks fine, and then you look at it
Mm,
on the actual website and it's gigantic, and no. um
yeah.
and so yeah, or turning bold on, turning, it's like, okay, underline. I can do that if I absolutely have to,
Yeah.
if I want to change color, some things like that, but I prefer booking the little button.
Yeah, me
Mhm.
too. Me too.
Yeah. So, Alyssa, I'm guessing that the next question that you probably get is, this sounds expensive. So, what do you tell folks
Oh,
who think, for features that are so cool and so rich and so easy to use, it's got to cost a lot?
it does not cost a lot. If you just compare ours
Mhm,
to the comparable
mhm.
thing, okay, our currently, and I mean, pricing is subject to change. So I say this with
Right. Yes.
caution,
And so,
but
as of the
still,
recording of
as
this
of the recording,
program, yes.
yes, which is late August,
Mhm,
we have two tiers,
mhm.
and one is $9 a month and the other is $19 a month.
Right.
So what is that? Like a couple coffees? I don't
Yeah,
think you can even buy a couple
I
coffees
know.
with $9 at Starbucks
No.
anymore.
No,
Yeah.
and so yeah, to have this, and yeah, and I'll be honest, I set that up on purpose because I had seen your pricing and I thought, no. um or I was looking for it to be, okay, you only have like two features. And but no, I mean, it's feature rich even
Mhm.
at the $9 level. Now, obviously it is limited.
Yeah.
But that's for the people who have one thing that they want to host
Yeah.
on there. And
And
if
I
you
mean,
want
even the
more, well, then you
$19
pay
one.
$10 more a month. It's not a big deal.
Yeah. Even that, I think we price it competitively to
Right.
help the non-code
Mhm.
creators, because a lot of people, like you're putting a business together, you're running this, and you're a small business. You
Mhm.
need to be cost sensitive. You need to be
Mhm.
balanced in your
Right.
books.
Mhm.
And yeah, if this is going to
Mhm.
help you get that course in to help you generate some extra
Mhm.
revenue, I want to help you do that.
Right. And one of the things that I really love about it, and you mentioned this a couple times, is you can put the code on multiple sites.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're somebody like me, I mean, I have 3 different websites
Mm.
that do, a little bit different things, but I might want to have some of this stuff on multiple sites. And,
Absolutely.
as you said, you just put the code there, put the code there, put the code there. And
Yep.
more importantly, if I make a change, it goes boogity, boogity, boogity all by itself.
Yes, all by itself. You don't have to go into 3 separate
Mhm.
sites to change each of the
Right.
courses. Exactly.
Right. I love it. I love it. So, what are some other things? Like, what are mistakes that you see people do when they're designing online courses?
Okay, let's go to that fun topic of course creation for
Yes.
maybe somebody that hasn't really like created a
Mhm.
course before, because it can sound very overwhelming
Right.
to some. I
Mhm.
totally get it, right?
Mhm.
Like it's just like, oh my God, like I'm going to create a course. Like
Mhm.
I'm not a teacher. Like how do I
Right.
put together
I
a
can't do that.
curriculum? Yeah. To those people, I say start with a smaller course.
Okay.
And what happens often is like somebody that has never made a course
Mhm.
before will think like, oh, I'm going to make a course. Like they finally
Mhm.
mustered up the courage, like,
Mhm.
I'm going to do this.
Mhm.
And they sit down and they really try to make a course that is so big.
Right. They're thinking this is a 4-hour course.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I need to talk about everything that I do.
Mhm.
Like it needs to download, it needs to be me. Like all
Mhm.
my knowledge needs to be in this
Mhm.
as one course.
Right.
You try to make a course like that. And I usually try to call those like flagship courses. Those are like
Mhm.
big and complicated,
Right.
lots of stuff in it.
Mhm.
You try to do that. Those take a lot of time
Mhm.
and just so much mental energy to put
Right.
together. And
Mhm.
there's nothing wrong with doing that. I think there is absolutely a time and a place in your business
Right.
where you
Mhm.
need a
Mhm.
flagship course. But if you haven't done smaller mini courses yet, this
Mhm.
is not the time for you to be
Right.
sitting down and being
Mhm.
like, let me put together a flagship
Mhm.
course. Because first of all, how do you know exactly what kind of flagship course you actually really
Right.
need?
Mhm.
Like you don't know that.
Mhm.
Even if you've been consulting, you don't
Mhm.
really know that, I
Mhm.
think, until you've sold some mini
Mhm.
courses. And by mini course, I mean something that can be consumed by your learners
Mhm.
within a couple hours. Something
Okay.
that if you sat down with somebody like at a coffee shop
Mhm.
and were teaching this to
Mhm.
them, it wouldn't take more than a couple of hours for you to
Okay.
teach and for them to learn. That
Right.
should be a mini
Mhm.
course. It needs to be specific in
Mhm.
its topic. It has to have a very concise, easy to
Mhm.
articulate promise to
Mhm.
it. So it can't be master Photoshop
Mhm.
because that is really big,
Mhm.
but it can be something more like remove your background from your portraits in
Mhm.
Photoshop.
Right.
That is much more
Mhm.
specific,
Mhm.
and people know exactly what it is that they're
Mhm.
going to get, versus if you try to do something like master Photoshop, it's just
Mhm.
like, oh my God.
Right.
Like,
Plus, when people search, they're not searching for
yes,
master Photoshop. They're searching for how
exactly.
do I remove my background?
Totally, exactly. So many benefits
Mhm.
to just starting with mini courses. And I
Mhm.
say just, but honestly, it can be a real revenue
Mhm.
engine for your business,
Right.
these mini courses.
Mhm.
And if you just block out the time to take care of this, it
Mhm.
shouldn't take you more than a weekend to do it,
Right.
minus the video editing time.
Mhm.
If you're not a video editor and I'm not, just go to Fiverr and find somebody to do it for
Yeah.
you.
Mhm. Mhm.
Yeah, just don't go there. But if you don't do that in terms of like putting together your outline and
Mhm.
like filming, if it's too much, if you're planning for something that will take you over one weekend or maybe
Mhm.
maximum 2 weekends, I think you should really
Mhm.
rethink your promise of this
Right. And
little
you can
mini
do
course.
part 1 and part 2 maybe.
Yes,
Mhm.
exactly. That, and like these mini courses, I mean, they can do so much for your
Mhm.
business. If you have more than one, you can like from a checkout page to
Mhm.
one, upsell the other, where it's
Right.
like you give 50% off.
Mhm.
You can run promotions as you
Buy one,
need
get one
some
free,
cash.
whatever it is. Mhm.
Exactly.
Mhm.
And you need some cash. Suddenly you're like, oh no, like somebody's in the hospital. I need some
Mhm.
cash right now.
Yeah.
You can
Eek!
run
I need to have a
any
fire
promotion.
sale. Mhm.
Exactly. And you just bundle out your courses
Mhm.
and put one low price.
Mhm.
So there is a real benefit to
Mhm.
having a lot of small
Mhm.
courses versus one flagship course. Like,
Mhm.
yes, you can run a sale on
Mhm.
one flagship course too, but just in terms of marketing, like, and this is, I guess, also if you have the kind of checkout
Mhm.
system that would allow it. But
Right.
if you do upsells
Mhm.
and order bumps and
Mhm.
things like that, can be really
Mhm.
powerful,
Mhm.
not to mention the fact that you have all these different promises that you can show. Like, let's say you're just sharing
Mhm.
a course promise on your Instagram, right? You can be very specific with each course about what it's going to show you. One's going to show you how to blur the background, right? And one's going to show you how to get, I don't know, like I'm not a Photoshop person. So
as opposed to
wrong,
you will learn to do yada, 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 yada. And their eyes crossed at the first yada.
Oh my God. I have a friend that is brilliant and I really want to learn from her. There's so much that she can offer. You know, I never bought her course because she keeps telling me there are 900 videos in her course.
900?
And I don't want 900 videos.
No,
I don't
who
have
has
time.
that time?
Yes, exactly. I want something that promises, like you learn how to do this, just this thing.
And then maybe I'll want to do that thing and then that thing.
Exactly.
And 5 years from now, maybe I will watch 900, but
but everybody's busy and everybody wants a specific result. That's why they're doing anything with you. So if you can give them a quick win, a small bite-sized win, it boosts their confidence. It makes them trust you more. And it also shows them your teaching style, which is huge. Right. So later, maybe 2 years down the road, you've released maybe 5 mini courses and you're like, you know what? I know my audience so well inside out, and they keep telling me that they want a really comprehensive course on X. That's when you make your flagship course. And now you know that this is the right topic. Like you're on the right track. You're not sidetracked. You're not guessing. You really shouldn't guess when you're making a flagship course. I think you can guess a little bit when you're making a mini course, only because it only takes like a weekend.
It's a weekend.
Yeah, it's okay. But if you're going to make a flagship course for 3 months, you really can't miss that mark. And by the way, if you ever are going to make any course, mini course or flagship course, and you're just not sure whether you should make a course on this or that, I just want to give a tip on that. You can always make landing pages for each of the courses before you record or even create the outline. Just come up with the promise of the course, right? And you can like create a little mini sales page. You can, if you want to, make it look like you created the course, or you can just be really transparent and say, hey, if I'm gauging interest with this, like, do you want it? Kind of thing. You can try to charge money for it up front or not. That's also up to you. But that is a wonderful way to see what you should be working on. Like, so I think making the course first is so overrated. And I think a lot of people, when they decide to actually make the course and like, oh, I'm going to do this, the pre-work, the sharpening the axe part, the validation part, we need more emphasis there. If you want it to be a bigger, successful course. I mean, we'll probably make some sales one way or another, but you want more sales, right? So if you just spend a little bit more time in that pre-course creation stage to see what you should be making, I think you're going to make a lot more money from your courses than if you didn't and you just guessed and you were like, I know what my audience needs. Like sometimes you're right, but sometimes you are actually off. And I have certainly been there many times.
I love that. Well, all of a sudden what popped into my head was, what is the difference between a course and a webinar? And are they different? Are they the same?
I see them slightly different.
Okay.
Though a webinar can certainly be hosted on a course, platform and just be shown. And this is how I see them different. A webinar is usually longer.
Okay.
And they can be pre-recorded or whatever, but like, it's like you sit down for the webinar and it's like a whole thing, usually at least 30 minutes long. When you do online courses, I usually say, don't have your videos be too long. Each lesson should have the title that shows what exactly is going to be shown there in case somebody needs to come back.
Right.
For a webinar, if you were like, oh, somewhere in the middle, they have that really juicy information and I can't find it, you have to go back and be like, okay, scroll. Was it before this? Was this after this? I don't know. A course is a lot more like you can find this information, but also I think it has a higher perceived value.
Okay.
In terms of like webinar, yes, there are some paid master webinar kind of things, but in terms of if you want to collect revenue, it is much more common to do so through a course than it will be for a webinar. So those are just some of the differences that pop into my head.
Yeah, and they overlap. I mean, it's kind of one of those terms that is kind of the same, but not quite the same.
Yeah, absolutely.
And sometimes I think of a webinar as they're lecturing at you, and
Yeah.
that's great. You're getting that content. A course is you're doing something at the same time.
Yes.
So it might be that, it's write down your top 5 reasons for doing and sometimes you do that in a webinar, sometimes you don't, but in a course, there is that interactivity type of thing.
Yeah. And maybe a little bit of homework to make sure your learners are following along with you so that they get the desired outcome that they signed up to get.
Right.
Yeah. You can really tailor the experience. And you're so right. And that webinar is more like talking at you, lecturing at you, because it's really hard to build that interactivity in. I mean, you can if you're doing a webinar live, I suppose you can be like, okay, raise your hand if you did this, or what do you think about this? But it's not the same.
As a speaker, that's hard.
Yeah.
Whether it's a webinar or in person, because, and we frequently say one or the other. Ask when you have your question, or wait and hold your questions at the end. Because sometimes, you can go down a rabbit hole. Somebody raises their hand and they get you way off course. Or, you wait to the end and then they don't remember what they wanted to ask.
Yes.
But it is hard when you're giving a presentation in person or online if people interrupt you. Because then there goes our train of thought, squirrel.
Yeah.
And so, but with a course, you actually can stop it, complete whatever the task was, and then do the next module.
Yep. I'm a huge fan of courses. I mean, I still learn with online courses. It's I'm a huge believer in continued learning. There's always new stuff to learn to keep on top of stuff. Yeah.
So, Alyssa, we've created these great courses. Now what do we do? How do we let people know that they even exist?
That is a wonderful question. And I think the answer really depends on where you're at with your business and what kind of audience you have. Way back in the day, maybe even just 5 years ago, I'm totally kind of dating myself in the online business world, right? But maybe even 5 years ago, you could create a course as somebody that didn't really have an audience and buy them through, let's say, Facebook ads for not too expensive.
Right.
Those days have passed. Now, if you don't have your own audience, I mean, you can do it, but you have to really know, okay, let's say my course is $19. I have to, let's just say, even if I really cut on my margins, I need to be able to make a sale by spending no more than $12, right? Then doing that math and that we're getting into the ads realm. If you don't have your own audience, I feel like it's either ads or it's a lot of organic building. You can make YouTube videos and try to build SEO, but it is certainly the long game. So if you are brand new, starting out as a coach, and you're like, okay, I need to build an audience and build a little mini course. I'd say do those at the same time. And maybe you can use even part of your mini course, open it up for free, and have people opt into your email list by giving that away as your opt-in gift. Instead of, PDFs,
or an ebook or all those various things.
Yeah, I mean, those are great too. But if you give away part of your online course or a dedicated online course that you created to give away as an opt-in gift, videos are you're looking at my face, you see my mannerisms. It's just so much more intimate than I can put in a PDF or a book. It's all written. Yeah. So I say do that so that you get more opt-ins and you can really, really nurture that audience. And then have a low course offer, because if you're starting out, you don't know who your audience is. Right. You do have to be very clear about that. And you can think, but you really don't know yet because you don't have a large audience at this moment. You'll get there. So it's not like trying to discourage you, but it's like,
Right.
okay, we have to know this is where I'm at in my journey right now. I have an untapped audience. I don't exactly know what her hopes, fears, and dreams are just yet. So let me start by making a course on how to build a paleo pantry. I don't know.
Right.
If I'm like, yeah, something that if somebody is interested in this kind of primal eating, they would be interested in this. And I will give away half of it for free as an opt-in gift. And the other half, they will have to pay a small amount to get access
Right.
to. And that way, somebody that's been through half of your course, if they like it, it's not that hard of a sell to like continue on with your course because they're like kind of left hanging.
Right. Yeah.
You
They're
know?
like, well, wait a minute. I'm, what do I do now?
Yeah, exactly. So and then they're like, okay, she's super knowledgeable in this area. I trust her. She's really helped me make a change in my pantry. What else she's got? And then they're looking at your
Right.
content and they're more in tune
And
with
again,
you.
that's why you want it on your own website.
Yes, and not somewhere else. So they continue to browse around your blog posts and your recipes and your whatever it is that you're doing. And it's a big ask to think that somebody will take a Udemy course and track you down to find you over there. And I think Udemy, when they started, they were actually okay with you driving traffic off their site. They're not anymore.
Right. And none of the big platforms are, because when they lose you, they've lost you.
They have a conflict of interest with you. Like they don't want people to follow you. And so, yes, please have that on your site and maybe some YouTube videos so that people can organically discover you and all this. But if you actually already have, if you've been in business for a while and you have your own mailing list and you have your own thing and you're just wondering like, okay, what should I make a course about? Shoot your audience an email.
Right. Would you be interested in?
Yes. And you'll be surprised how many people respond back to you with longer than expected emails, letting you know this is what they want to learn. And when they say that, listen. Also, when they send you anything text-wise, this is like a total side tip, but keep whatever they said in a spreadsheet or a Google Doc. Just keep a running list of your audience's words. And when you create content and also when you create your sales page, you look at that document and you use those exact words.
Are there
so that
frequently asked questions, things like that?
Yes, exactly. It is such an easy, it just takes so much off your shoulders for creating all of that. And it's just like, okay, this is what they're interested in so that you don't
And
lose
I tell
touch.
people there's no such thing as a unique question. Somebody will send me a note and they'll say, nobody asked this. I'm sure nobody cares. And I'm like, no. Yes, you are unique. However, your question is not. And so, that's, and maybe it's obscure enough that, okay, you can answer it in one way, but maybe it leads to another course or something like that.
Yes, exactly. It's such a good way to just keep your pulse on your audience, which I think is so important. You want to be in sync with them.
And it's positives and negatives.
Yeah.
You want both.
Yes, you need both. And if somebody gives you feedback on like, oh, I think you missed this in your course, be like, oh, all right, a 5-minute video recording. I can put that in, like, no problem.
Right.
Like, it's just so good to listen to your audience at all the time.
Right. I love it. Well, oh my gosh, we've only got about 10 minutes left, and it's really funny. All of a sudden, it's pouring here, and so if we get some weird noises, that's what's going on. But yeah, I wanted to talk a little bit about how your journey as an entrepreneur, because this is a very good, but it's very different from what you did. And we'll at the end we'll give everybody the chance to learn more about Alish. But you gave up a career where you had trained for not days, not weeks, not months, years. You trained for years to be a dentist.
Yeah.
And as we said in the intro, you retired at 31.
Yeah.
And I love hearing stories about that, because clearly dentistry was your passion. But then you said, hey, I want to try something different. So, what do you tell people who are like, I've invested so much, I can't change?
Sunk cost fallacy. Sunk cost fallacy. I mean, I was in school. So in South Korea, dental school is 6 years long.
Wow.
So I did 6. Yeah.
Mhm.
So I was in school for a very long time.
Mhm.
My entire 20s is pretty much gone to
Because
dental
like you said, you had to repeat everything here. Mhm.
Yeah. So really, like my entire 20s is just
Mhm.
dental school, pretty much.
Mhm.
And it's funny because while I was preparing to graduate
Mhm.
senior year in UCLA,
Mhm.
a friend gave me Tim Ferriss's 4-Hour Work Week.
Mm.
And I started to listen to that book while I was like going back and forth from the labs. And like, you know, there's a lot of lab work to do as a dental student. So
Right.
I was listening to the book and I was like, such a paradigm shift for me.
Right.
And that book specifically talked about sunk cost fallacy because if I'm thinking about it, like I accrued a lot of debt to go through that dental school.
Right.
And it's so easy to think that I can't stop this.
Right.
I
How
already
irresponsible.
Yeah. And like, then what does my past 10 years, what's becoming of my past 10 years of my life and all of this? But I really thought 5 years from now, would I regret? What's the worst that could happen?
Right.
And if I really miss dentistry, I can always
You can
come
go
back.
back.
It's not like I lost it. It's always there for me. I do not regret taking it was a bit of an adventure. It was a huge adventure. And everybody around me, I don't think I really had a supporter, to be honest.
Right. I'm sure everybody went,
what do you mean?
Alyssa, what is wrong with you?
Yeah, like, what are you doing? You worked so hard to go back to UCLA only to graduate and not practice or only practice a little bit. Like, that's not what you signed up for. I'm like, you're right. And now I know more. And now my ideal life situation that I have, my dreams have shifted.
Right.
And I would like to honor that. I do not want to wonder what it would have been or could have been had I tried. So I say, if you are somebody like me that invested a lot in education, a lot of time, a lot of money, and have maybe parents that are like mine.
Right. Who are like,
that are
what
like,
the heck?
I didn't send you to school for that. Like, that's not what that was not our contract.
Right.
Pretty much that. Just give yourself the gift of trying. And maybe if you're really worried, just try part-time first.
Right.
Or if you're somebody that knows you want to try, but you're just like, oh, I'm a dentist, I can't work online. No, there is always a way.
There are courses you can take.
Exactly. Even a industry as hands-on as dentistry, I figured it out in terms of how I could make a good living and not bend my back and strain my eyes. And I'm that much healthier and happier for that, I believe.
Right. And it's also, and it's funny because, we have this debate between the baby boomers and the millennials, right? With the baby boomers, which that's me, we got a career and we stuck with it. And, people don't understand because I've jumped around, but I've kept the same general thing. But, and then we fuss when the millennial generation wants to make their own decisions. And we're like, well, how irresponsible. And anytime somebody says that, I'm like, excuse me, we raised them, and we raised them to say, I want more control over my life. I want my children to see that I don't have to do this. And now we're not saying, jump to jump to jump to jump to jump.
No.
But, it's like after, when you think about it, sometimes people prey on it. I mean, all these various things. If it's like, I'm being torn or shown a new direction, why not try it? I mean, almost always it's not irreversible.
No. And you just never know what can come from there. I think as an entrepreneur, like, I never thought that I would be running a SaaS business, software as a service. That was not, I was teaching dentists how to cut teeth and I was doing that. But you just follow these breadcrumbs that lead you to your next stage and your next stage. And you end up somewhere magical. You just don't know before you start. And so if you feel like you're seeing that first trace of breadcrumbs,
Mhm.
don't ignore it.
Mhm.
You don't have to give up everything you have.
And it could just be a hobby that you do. Who knows?
Yes, exactly. Just start it as a side hustle, and please don't
Right.
quit your job. Like
Mhm.
I am so against that. Like that is
Yeah.
actually
We like benefits. We like.
that's actually irresponsible, especially if you have kids and somebody
Mhm.
depending on you for your,
Yeah. Mhm.
like you have to make
Mhm.
sure that everybody in your
Mhm.
care
Yes,
is
we're
safe.
not putting everybody on a mac and cheese diet. Mm-mm.
No, 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 no. But that does not mean you can't explore that other
Right.
thing.
Mhm.
I think you should still give
Mhm.
yourself the gift
Right.
of that. And you'll be
Right.
surprised what can come of it because,
Right.
oh, look where I'm at. I can't
Right.
believe it.
Right. Yeah, you came up with this company called Owlish.
I
So this
know.
is perfect timing now to say, tell us more about Owlish, how they find you, and again, what the services are that you provide.
Yes. So Owlish, and that's Owlish with two W's.
Mhm.
So OWWLISH.
Mhm.
That's our software.
Mhm.
And we really are focused on the non-technical creator to help them put amazing looking online courses on their websites, regardless of what platform they're on.
Mhm.
So that's Owlish. And if you want to just come say hi, you can come to owlish.com. We are, for the listeners of this podcast,
Mhm.
putting together a offer where you can get 2 months free.
Wow.
Um, yeah. So we really want you to come over and just give us a try. It's at owlish.com/the business power hour.
Cool.
All one word,
Mhm.
no dashes, no underscores, just all one word, owlish.com, the business power hour. And I believe, Deb, you're going to link it up from your show notes so that
It's
people can
showing in the
find
show
it.
notes. Mhm.
Yes, perfect. Come on over if you're just wondering whether this is something you should explore or
Mhm.
not. What is the downside? Just give it a
Mhm.
weekend.
Mhm.
You'll be surprised at how much you can do in terms of creating a little mini course,
Mhm.
something that only takes somebody an hour to digest.
Mhm.
Go and just do that and
Right.
see what it can do for your
Mhm.
business
Right.
because it can
And then,
do a
show it
lot.
to some friends, show it to some
Yeah.
clients and say, what do you think?
Yeah, exactly. It doesn't have to be this big old thing where you work on it for months.
Mhm.
Don't just start simple. And that is really the safer and more sustainable path to building an online course empire if that's what you want to
Mhm.
do.
I love it. And as I say, and I would never have to put shoes on.
Exactly. You get sailed in the middle of the night. You wake up to some
Yeah. Oh,
notifications. It's a
wait,
good
here we go.
feeling. I love that.
I love it. I love it. Well, Alyssa, this really has been so much fun. And I can't wait to talk with you again to find out
Yeah.
more about, what people can do with this platform, what changes, advances are made because as we said, stuff changes all the
Yeah.
time. And I think one of the things that COVID did, obviously bad stuff, but it sped up a lot of this. I mean, we were talking about the
Yes.
fact that, companies are now having to do things like this for their remote workers and, all of these things. So it'll be so much fun to talk with you again sometime.
I would love that anytime.
Well, do you have any final thoughts that you want to leave everyone with?
I think what I was talking about in terms of following your breadcrumbs, but also to be persistent with
Mhm.
that. Because anything worth doing does take some sweat. And if you stop before you actually see, reach your destination, just stick with it,
Mhm.
but keep it simple and just show up every day and you will travel a lot further than you've imagined, really.
I love it. I love it. Well, I am Deb Creer. I've been having such a good discussion with Alyssa Marshall, the co founder of Owlish. And until next time, everyone have a great day.
Tune in for our next program for even more trends, best practices, and techniques for how to make your business a success. The Business Power Hour, hosted by Deb Creer, is proud to be part of the C-Suite Network.